We are live.
Entrepreneurs in the arena. Hi, my name is Mark Troy. They call me Coach. So wherever you're watching this, hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Depends on what time of the day. We have a special guest today. My man named Terrance Fulton. I knew Terrance for almost a decade now, and from following him on Instagram and Facebook, very inspiring to watch where he came from and to where he at now. But before, I'm not going to share his story. I'm going to let him share his story. But I thought it was very important to have him, someone of his caliber, some of his status on our show. And when we thought about who can we bring on the show, we thought about someone that was fun, someone that knew sales, someone that understand marketing, and someone that understand business. You were very high on my list, top two, top three, and so I'm so happy and excited to have you on today with us, man. Terrance, man, how you feeling, brother?
Man, I appreciate you, man. Thanks for choosing me, man. When I saw that you sent the text over to me, man, I was excited. Wasn't never gonna say no to you, bro. You know what I mean? You know that. I
Appreciate
can't
that.
believe it's been almost a decade. That's
Yes,
crazy.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's been a long time, man. And when you having fun, man, in this thing we call life, time flies.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I remember the first time me and you connected. I believe it was Starbucks, right? I believe it
Mm.
was Starbucks.
I
Yeah,
mean, we connected over the phone first, right?
yeah,
Didn't we?
yeah. But
Okay.
we used to meet a lot at Starbucks, and
Yeah.
to meet a brother at his age, because usually when I'm, on my self development journey, I don't really meet a lot of people where I'm from. I'm from Miami, guys. That's that people that immerse themselves into self development, and some of the books I've been reading, he read already, and the people that he's been following, studying, he's already following and studying them. I was amazed. So when you find a connection with somebody that's like minded and like hearted, you want you want to try your best to better connection and create a better relationship. So, man, now someone that I think is all about relationships is my man Leonardo Garcia here, and he talks a lot about relationships. So, Leo, I would like for you to talk to Terrance real quick, man. Terrance, I think.
Terrence, whew, that man's Instagram had me going on the other day. How you doing? How you doing, sir? It's a pleasure to meet you. Now I get to meet you personally, and I get to meet somebody that in Mark's inner circle. Um, let me start with. Uh, I would like to ask you a
Thank
few
you. Thank
questions
you.
if you don't mind. I hope you don't mind
Okay.
asking some questions. I'm curious. Give us something about your
Yeah.
beginnings. Give us something about your beginnings, because I really watch your Instagram goes up, down, up. Like you really just give us all emotions. I got stuck in it for like 2 hours. So I'm telling you, it was like watching a movie. So what exactly is it that you do? Because it seems like you are a Renaissance man.
Yeah. I mean, basically, what I do now, I have a hedge fund now, which I don't really speak too much on. It's private. I launched it at the end of 2020, beginning of 2021. I initially made my money off of real estate investing, which is flipping houses. I scaled that all the way up to teaching people at the SLS Brickell in Miami, where people used to fly all across the country to come watch me speak and learn from me. Um, and since I made a pretty penny over there, but as you know, as you grow with everything, you get these different awakenings, if you is what I like to call them, and it still felt like I was, despite what people felt and thought, I still felt like I was still in a rat race. Um, it wasn't until you when you watch these motivational videos, you're like, oh, work hard, stay up late, da da da. Successful people don't sleep. I'm about that life. But then I started meeting really, really successful people, and that was telling me I was working too hard. Like you're working extremely hard. Like you're burning yourself out. Why would you do that? Why don't you do this? Man, what you can do over there, you can actually do over here and work a lot less. And I'm like, well, let's mega millionaires, people that sold their companies, all kind of stuff that obviously worked their ass off, but they saw the skill set and knew that it could be transferred to a different arena. But you don't know what you don't know until somebody shows you. And then I thought I was making some money. Then I met people that was really making money, and I'm like, oh man. So I said, okay, I made a slight shift in COVID. I said I got to come out this year a lot, excuse me, a lot better than I did previous years. And I went right into hedge fund, and which was the number one source for wealth building in America.
That's interesting.
So
Wow.
so so tell me this because we're from the same community, same in Miami.
Right.
How does environment, being around a certain environment, or creating your own environment, how much impact has that gotten for you? How
Um,
much does it matter about
Oh,
being that environment?
it matters. Yeah, it definitely matters. I always thought the way I did. I always thought bigger. I always thought bigger. I always thought we could have more. The problem with that is when you think like that, people interpret it as, "Oh, you think you better than me." You get what I mean? And then you fight against that because I'm not saying that at all. I don't think that at all. I'm right here with you. We right in the trenches with each other, but I know it's something different on the other side. I couldn't even put it into words per se, because I'm just like everybody else. I watch cartoons and watch TV, but some of my favorite shows uh didn't have any black actors, right? But that would be a problem where we from. Like, it wasn't a test my brother, man, you love shows, you love the shows with all the white people. But I didn't look at it like that. I just saw people. I didn't see none of that stuff. One of my favorite movies was Richie Rich with Macaulay Culkin. I saw a kid that was rich as hell. His parents was rich. I didn't know it wasn't real. As far as I knew, looked like the kid always had money. And so I just knew something was better. I battled with that for a very long time. So you know how, like, if you're on a porch with your homeboys, a car passed by, what you say? That's my car. That's my car. That's my car.
Yeah, we
So
all
my
yeah.
friends would point to like hood cars, the Don'ts, the Verts, the cars with the rims. I would point to the BMWs, the Mercedes, the Lexus, those kind of cars. And they would just like it wasn't no fight. You know how you would fight like, oh no, I called it first. It wasn't no fight with them. And I realized, I didn't know then, but I realized that's because they didn't think they can have it. They didn't see that in the hood. You saw the hood cars in the hood. You get what I mean? So I was fortunate enough to always have like a girlfriend that was from a different neighborhood. So like went to different schools. There used to be a flex. I don't know why it was a flex, but it was like a flex to have a girlfriend from a different school that was pretty and smart, right? Being from the hood, you go date the smart girls. And then the smart girls usually came from better environments, better neighborhoods. So I was able to see like massive houses, mini mansions and stuff very, very early on. It just, when I came back home, I had to come back home to the hood. But it was hard explaining that to my homeboys what I saw. It's like they didn't believe me. It's like, man, this man lying, man. All right. So if it's like that, why it's not like this, So yeah, but environment does play. I'm sorry to get a long-winded answer, but that's
No,
like
no.
environment is key.
So you mentioned smart. So who were you in high school? Were you smart? Were you a 4.0 student? Were you the athlete? What you played chess?
No.
You played tennis? Who were you in high school?
My very first report card in high school, the first grading period in the ninth grade, 3 F's, 2 D's, 1 C. That was my first report card in high school. How I remember that? Because
I was
told my
about
ass up.
to you remember that. I was about to say, what kind of scars did you get? Because you remember that.
Yeah, I remember that shit, dog. That was the last time I said I wanted to get a whooping. Yeah, 3 F's, 2 D's, 1 C, because it was only 6 classes at the time.
Okay.
At the end of the grading period.
What grade was that? Ninth grade?
Ninth grade, first grading period.
Okay. How did you finish?
2.2.
2.2. Okay. So
barely.
How did education play into who you are now? How did the school system play into who you are now?
It didn't actually. It didn't. I was lazy in high school. I just barely skated by. If you told me excellence wasn't demanded in my household. It was just graduation. You just got to graduate. Even it wasn't like you had to get all A's and B's. I knew I was more than capable, but there was nobody to push me like that. It just wasn't. So if I could get by skating by, that's what I did. But I
Mm.
excelled at hustling. So when I lived in Overtown, I lived in Overtown. I grew up in Carroll City, but for a few years I lived in Overtown, which is one of the most notorious hoods down here in Miami. Um, a lot of poverty. So I'm sure a lot of people heard of Liberty City and Little Haiti, stuff like that, like different hoods in Miami. Let's put it like this: Overtown was the place nobody fucked with. Like that was the one place
Mhm.
everybody stayed away from. Yo, it was like the slums, and I lived there, and that's when I got my first start at hustling, and because it was about survival. So I was in the third grade, pumping people gas for money. So I would come home with like $50, $70 a day, and my mama would be like, "Where you getting this money from?" You get what I mean? And I'm like, "Oh, I was just pumping people gas. I just stay at the gas pump all day." That's before you could pay at the pump. You had to go inside. So people were afraid to go inside because of the bums or the guys that hung out there because it was like a trap there. So I'm just out there. Hey, can I pump your gas or whatever? And back then it could be $2, $3. Remember that got you far back then in the early 90s. And then I would go pay for their gas and they'll maybe give me a little spare change. Enough cars come by before you know it. You got you about 40, 50, 60, $70. One time a guy gave me $100.
Come on.
What I was gonna say. So one day a white Lamborghini pulls up, right? I didn't know it was a Lamborghini at the time. I didn't identify the car with a Lamborghini. I identified it was a white spaceship. It looked like Back to the Future because the doors went up. So only car I seen that ever went the doors went up was Back to the Future, even though the Back to the Future was going, it was different the way the doors open, but you don't know that as a child. You just know the doors go up. And I see this guy get out all white on, blonde hair, blue eyes. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, and he let me sit in his car or whatever. It wasn't like we had cameras at the time. Number it was all Polaroid, but I didn't have none of that stuff. All I had was my memory that I got into a car and he was just like, "Your future is bright, kid." And he would just off in the wind. He didn't give me no tip, no none of that stuff. He would just allow me to sit in his car. It was a Lamborghini Countach, but I didn't know that at the time. Only to find out years later it was Irv David from Prestige Imports. It was Lamborghini Miami.
Wow. 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 So I seen one of your posts about about if your child makes it, if they becomes very successful, you should as a parent you should well let me see if I can remember how it went. I remember what you said, but I want you to present it to them because I really want to know how they feel about it. But I know how you feel about it already, and I really want to open up to them. It went something about. Can you explain how that post went about the successful child? They make it, they become very successful.
Oh, I mean, the child make it. They become very successful, and they actually owe their parents.
They owe their parents.
Even though people would say, "Oh, the kids don't owe you nothing." Yes, they do. It's just
So
maybe not the politically correct thing to say, but they do owe you.
okay.
It,
So Leo, how you feel about that? Do you think that
That's
the
interesting. I feel they, I feel in a sense, we do owe our parents. I mean, granted, you're talking to someone that has their mom. You go back 2 years ago, my mom needed a kidney, and they were going to put it on a list, and I said no. I donated my kidney to my mom. She didn't have to wait. So I feel I owed her another chance at life. But it's funny because we were talking about this prior to bringing you on to the show, right? And I literally, the show was not on live, we are off, and I literally called my son over and I said, Dante, if you make it, do you feel you owe me something? And he flat out, without thinking 2 seconds, said no. And I'm like I was like, wow, like that's really his thought process on it. And I'm not understanding where it came from. Like we've had conversations. He didn't say that he wouldn't give me something. He just feels that he doesn't owe me something. So I feel that that's a very controversial question because it's amazing how I'm here. Mark likes to say I'm selfless. I don't say that about myself. I just felt that's my mom and I had to do what I had to do no matter what because she gave me an opportunity in this world. So I wanted to return the favor. It was my chance to return the favor. I don't ever feel that we could do enough for our parents, especially when they've been there. So me doing that to me was like nothing. I didn't even think twice. People are like, "Are you crazy?" I mean, she had friends right now that she still visits once a week, still getting dialysis. That their kids said flat out no. So there, you know, and I'm the only one. My mom went in last, and she was the first one out of that. She's only had like 4 procedures with dialysis, where there's people that were there for years. So I started thinking about this question. I was like he just flat out said no. I think yes, but you know, you're pretty. You're not even blinking. Like your glasses are not as dark as people think. I can see your eyes, and you didn't even blink. You were like, "Yep, they. You know, your kids. They do. They owe you." You really like wholeheartedly feel about that. So I thought it was a controversial question. I feel we do. I feel that especially if your parents are there for you, like the sacrifices that, because I'm a parent, as I said before, and I've made tons of sacrifices for my son, so I don't see where that mindset came from. And it's still, I wish he was here now. I would have brought him on here so he could explain himself, because it's kind of, he has a different view on it. I don't know how you feel about that, John. Do you feel that your kids owe you if they make it, like they owe you something? I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy.
Yeah, I like that, man. And I know last time when we were talking, all three among us, right? Um, ever since I started thinking, I'm like, listen, the Bible has two perspectives from it, right? If you go back to the book of Exodus, which is in the Old Testament, it talks about honor your mother and your father, right? That's one of the promises that actually comes with a guarantor that says if you honor your mother and your father, the Lord will bless you with longevity here on earth, more longer years, right? But the same Bible, which does not contradict itself, also says it on the Old Testament in the book of Proverbs that says, a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. All right. So it's like a double-edged sword, right? It's like you're going to honor your mother and your father. Yes, great. We know most parents, they basically just live to survive, right? We live in this planet. We get it. Sometimes if you fall into the system, you fall into the trap of you're living paycheck to paycheck, right? So at the end of life, unless you have a massive life insurance policy, at the end of your life, you're not leaving nothing for your children, or forget about your children's children, right? So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. Now it depends. Was a parent responsible for building inheritance for their children, or did the family? And I'm trying to be very cautious on my wording, right? I don't want to insult anybody, but was did the parent not have any courage to go in life and actually become the person that God meant them to be? If you become the person that God intended for you to be, which if you read the scripture, he says, and you could read this on any book. I'm not sure of any other book. I haven't read the Quran, right? I've looked into it. All right. I haven't read any other book out there, but the Bible, the one that I read, he says that God has plans to prosper us and not to harm us. So if we follow that path of actually fulfilling what God has in plan for us, by the time you get to the end of life, or by the time your kids get older, they don't have to give you money. Matter of fact, it is our job to make sure that we leave an inheritance to our children's children. All right. But what happens, unfortunately, in this world is that most people are living just a mere existence, a mediocre life. Just again, that's what we know as the system, living paycheck to paycheck. All right. And I get it. I've been there, done that, man, and it's horrible. All right. So that's kind of like my answer there. I hope we answered, but I mean, come on, man. We have to transform our mind if we want to become what God or who God intended for us to be. But what do you think, Terrance? What are your thoughts on that, man?
Oh, I wanted to see Mark's.
Well,
Oh, you want to see Mark? All right, I forgot. Yeah.
Let me tell you now, I felt the same way y'all felt until I got married. When I got married, my mom, my dad wouldn't take nothing from me, no matter what situation it was in. They told me that their job is done. I'm successful. I'm married now. Now my blood, sweat, and tears got to go to my family now. My son, at the time he was 6 years old, and now my wife. They told me, I need you to pour everything into them. Whatever you have left over, you save it. But guess what? I didn't go by that. So what I had to do is leave money and just walk out the house. For years, for like 2 years, they'll send it back to me. Hey, no, we don't want it. But then they started saying, hey, you know what? He's not going to stop giving us money. So they kept it. Now they accept the money. But my mom, this is how she feel. My mom and dad, very, very proud people. They don't want no one to ever think or feel like they owe them something. even as a child, they feel that was their duty. They didn't raise me to be successful to take care of them. They raised me to be successful to take care of my family, my children. That was their principles. So I look at my son, I'm like, hey, look, you know what? Let me see. Because I know my son is going to be a billionaire. I know my daughter's, especially my second daughter, and the third one, they're going to be amazing people. Now, will I be like my mom and dad and be proud and not take something? That's what I question every day. Now, it's new times. I think to make them feel good, I will accept them just to make them feel good. But I live by the same principle mom and dad live by.
And if you don't
So by
mind,
the
man,
time they're married, okay.
if you don't mind, before Terrance tells us his point of view, right, is if you're already an adult and your parents didn't do what the scripture says to build an inheritance for the children, and it might be too late, meaning for them, they didn't make it. At this point, let's take care of them. For example, my father passed away about 2 years ago. All right. My mother's still alive. She never made it, but she made it enough for when after they divorced, she had up to 3 jobs, getting paid minimum wage in a factory, and she raised us. We never liked anything, and she was by herself. At the time when I was a child, I didn't understand the sacrifice she was making because I would cry for anything, and it would appear there in the month. All right, she was making a lot of sacrifices, but she didn't make it. Guess what? I'm the only other man in her life alive. She would not like anything, man. All right, she's getting to that age that I already told her, hey, listen, we're gonna line up a house for you. Same thing with my mother-in-law. And I was thinking of, those in-law apartments in the back. I was like, I'll tell my wife, I'm like, why don't we just buy a duplex and have them live next to each other? Let them have at it. That would be more comfortable for them, more privacy for us. Because you got to be wise too. The Bible says that a man will live his mother and father. It doesn't say a woman will live his mother and father, but it says a man will leave their mother and father and become one with his wife. All right. But I got a lot to say about that. But Terrance, sir, let's go ahead and hear you, man. I know that was your post that Mark brought up.
What was your answer? What was your final answer? You don't owe your parents.
If it's too late for them, listen. As a parent, this is me talking as a parent. I want to make sure I position myself that when I'm elderly, my kids don't have to look up to me. But if our parents didn't have the privilege or the mindset to make it in life, and they're already up in that age, we're taking care of them, man. There's
What's your name, John Medina?
Yes, sir.
What's your nationality? Where you from?
Dominican parents.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah,
Same here.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I see it was Garcia. Okay. All right. And then Mark is, I know he's Haitian descent.
Yes, sir.
So all islands, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Cool. All right.
Oh, I thought there was something else coming after that.
I thought it was something with that.
No, I thought you wasn't done. I was just
No,
waiting on you.
That's it, man. That's my final answer. If they didn't make it, and you're in a position to take care of them, and if you're not in a position, for those listening, if you're not in a position financially to take care of your family, and you still got breath in your lungs, snap out of it. Go make it.
Okay. All right. A couple things here. Usually island people from the islands are usually very prideful people. You guys, they come from maybe a third world country, and they look at America as heaven on earth. And you could build wealth here, mindless people. People that's born here are a little bit born into privilege, in a sense. You're born on privileged land. Okay. All right. So all I'm saying is, if you work in a day-to-day job, I can understand why you can't take care of your mother and father. You're an average person that's working an average job with average bills. So the best thing you could do for them is not continue to be a burden for them. All right. Be a great citizen, stay out of trouble. Don't tarnish the family name because the last name don't belong to you. Right. You're just borrowing it. It's the last name is bigger than you. But all I'm saying is, if you're building wealth, if you think like we think, or you're part of the 10%, 1%, whatever it is, the little that you can do, you should do. You should want to do. Now, I'm not saying that your parents should make you feel like you have to, but you should, if you as a decent human being, you should want to. When we talk about family wealth, what are we talking about? Are we talking about the wife that we met with the kids that we created? Isn't the wealth of family wealth is an extension of our mother and father, at least? Isn't it? And then we can't put building wealth on them. They can't build wealth. It was at a different time for them, especially if you're a minority. Can't be telling somebody, well, my mom didn't do what they supposed to do. They had bigger shit to worry about, like being hosed down, slavery, segregation. You get what I mean? It wasn't YouTube, it wasn't Google, it wasn't all these opportunities. Now, we is the last generation to play outside, the first generation to be exposed to the internet. Building wealth starts with you. It starts with you, and it starts today. You get what I mean? Now, if you're what I was referring to in the video was I was talking about basketball players who is the a percent of a percent of a percent that's making millions of dollars, supermax contracts, talking about they can't pass down wealth because they got to take care of their mom and daddy. No, motherfucker, you can't pass down wealth because you got 10 baby mamas with all the groupies, and you got 3 fucking homes and 10 cars, and you got bottles, and you're living a life. That's why you can't do it. It's all the irresponsible things. Don't ever put it on your parents. You owe your parents more than you owe anybody. Those are the people that had to work the 3 jobs, that put the food on the table, that tried to get you the Jordans, or bless you with things. Why wouldn't you want to do something for them if you can? If you can't, that's a whole nother thing. But if you can, it shouldn't be, oh, well, because I met my wife and this and that. Yeah, she came so much later. And I get, we love our wives. We love our wives and they changed our lives. But let's not forget who prepared us for them.
Right.
It's our parents. It's our mother and father. You should want to. It should be, you know what? When you get your mom, it's an honor. It will be my honor and privilege to serve you and to give you something, mother or father, because the what you guys sacrifice of me. Now you leave it up to them whether they want to take it or not. But to feel like you don't owe them that means to me, no disrespect to anybody, that means you're not a decent human being. Because you should feel like, you know what? Even if you grew up in poverty, you don't know how hard our parents freaking had it. You don't know that's why we tell people, ask your mama, ask your mother and father questions. You get what I mean? Even if your daddy wasn't there, if you can, don't be bitter. You don't know that's just your mama. You don't know what that lady took that man through, especially when you grow up as men and you have been dating women, or we all had our experiences before we met our wives and settled down. We know how some women could be, and she's your mother, but you don't know what kind of woman she was to your father. And not every man think I'm gonna stay here for that. Some men are like, man, F it. I'm good. Some people are wired a lot differently. You get what I mean? So that's why I was saying, yes, you owe your parents. You should want to do for your parents. You know, especially these days. Imagine that. Imagine taking your kid to basketball practice, soccer practice, football, and you know they ain't worth a damn. They ain't worth shit. You already know they're gonna be trash, but you're just trying to keep the little bit of their dreams alive. You're trying to keep a little bit of that competitive edge, right? You going to AAU tournaments, spending all kind of money. Imagine they do make it and they feel like they don't owe you nothing, but they willing to give it to a groupie. Or they married the wrong woman. She take his ass down there to the courthouse, and take him for everything that he got. You see what I mean? Hint Kobe. You get what I mean? It's like
that's what I was thinking about.
Yeah, because that's. But again, God bless the dead. Hell of a basketball player. I don't think he was that best of a person. That's just me. A little bit controversial to say. I don't think he was that great of a human being, considering some of his life and the things that he made the decision on.
Did you hear the last story about his best friends or ex-friends talking about him now, about how he treated them?
I mean, imagine that. I mean, they say that Vanessa take care of her mother and father,
right?
But his family is not. And then again, I get it. But when you hear the stories of the way he treated teammates, the way he did teammates, you could be a good leader without being an asshole to teammates, without punching teammates in the face because you're trying to emulate your idol, all because you want to win a championship. It's so many ways to lead. I've seen a great team being destroyed by a bad fucking leader who's unmotivating. You get what I mean? He talk down on people. He think he better than people. You cannot do that these days. You about to get away with that back in the day, but you damn sure can't get away with it today. So I do believe in different forms of leadership as well. But at the same time, you do owe your parents. I don't want to go off on the rails, but I'm sorry, but
Let,
you do owe your parents.
us touch on that, man.
That's
Leadership.
right. Oh wait, I
Leadership.
agree with that.
Let's touch on leadership, man. So to
Yeah.
you, because you worked in 9 to 5, what's the difference between a manager and a leader?
Good
Manager
question.
is a manager is somebody that say, I need you to do this for me. A leader says, hey, can you do this for me? And you will do it at a high level because you know that they would do it.
That's
So
pretty down.
So let's take it back.
I've seen that. I've seen like leaders tell you you have to do this because it's your job. That's why you have to. And then I've seen people that give you an incentive for doing it because they want you to do it at a high level. It's good leadership.
If there was a couple of skills that, if you had a magic wand, and you could go back and go back to high school and say, hey, look, these high schools need to have this in order to be successful in life, what 3 or 4 skills you would want to, or classes would you want high schools to have right now?
The first thing would be it's not a skill, but more so infrastructure. Infrastructure, of course, leadership, of course, sales, learning sales, communication, having to communicate, and being able to network, because we grew up in environments where you was chastised if you spoke to people. Friendly ass, look at this friendly ass nigga. Like it would trick you, and then you could be like, man, hello, good morning, everybody. Oh, this man, friendly ass dude here speaking to everybody, and then you shut down.
Bro, I remember me and you had a conversation about how we was raised. We was raised not to talk to strangers, and
Right.
and it kind of disrupt us from being friendly as we grow up, and now that affects your train of thought when it's time to network and grow and scale, right? Do you remember that conversation we had about being friendly? So now, what would you do different now? Because that's how we grew up. How are you teaching the next generation, your kids, on how to communicate with adults as kids now and how to network?
I'm not. I'm just putting them in. I'm just putting them in an environment where everybody is friendly, and they'll just pick up like second nature to them.
Environment.
Just put them in the environment. They tell you, you got some of your kids could be shy, especially like little girls. They'll hide behind you. Hey, good morning, and you like, hey, speak, and they be like, hey, and they just kind of go back. It's a start, but just putting them around different kids, and make sure it's diverse. Make sure it ain't just one group of people. Make sure it's multiple groups of people.
That's powerful. By the way, Terrance, there's someone has a question on Instagram. Can I read you the question?
Oh, okay.
All right. So your trusted insurance broker on Instagram, she is asking, do he believe certain people don't have the same opportunity to be successful in life, or does he think that some people just choose not to be successful?
No, we all not afforded the same opportunity, and everybody can and won't make it, and then being okay with that. I never said I would save everybody. I said I'm gonna save whoever. I work with the willing. I don't care who you is. Everybody can and won't make it. It is what it is, and I don't want to save everybody, and I don't think everybody should be saved, because some people would. Sometimes it can come off a certain way to people, because you have life, or you don't have life insurance on your kids. Oh, motherfucker, don't tell me what to do with my goddamn kids. You ain't better than nobody. I got them. We come from another environment that, be like, people would snap on you if you come at them a certain way, and if you want to better their life. So what you saying? Your life better than mine? You see what I mean? You got to work with the willing, man. I remember somebody asked me to speak to like some juveniles, right? Troubled juveniles, and I was like, nah, I'm good. And I was like, oh wow, they thought I was gonna say yeah. I'm like, what I'm talking to them for? Wasn't popular to say, but what I'm talking to them for again? Oh, because they could see somebody like you successful, this and that. I'm like, nah, I'm cool. Put me where the 5,000 role models at. Put me where the JRTC people at. They need help too. The people that made a decision and they doing it and they halfway there. They just still need some guidance. Y'all doing exactly what the system do. The same as that system where you got people that's working, they working their ass off. They trying to make a way. They may not have all of the guidance, right? But they trying. And you skipping over them and say, oh, let's go help the poverty people. For what? It's people out here trying. I don't need to talk to them. They got people that to talk to them. Go get the other guys. I don't need to talk to them. Put me where some of the productive teenagers are, and I want to help them. I'm good. They got people that'll help them. I want to help the people that's doing something. You get what I mean? Sometimes when you dig too far in the bottom, you go come up without a hand.
Say that one more time.
Sometimes when you dig too deep, far in the bottom, your ass gonna come up without a hand.
Big
Woo. Well, let me ask
making
you.
some sense, you guys.
You're making a lot of sense. You're dropping jewels right now. You know what? To be honest, you're hitting things. You're probably saying things that people think. You're just raw. People just don't want to say it because they're afraid of coming out controversial, or they don't want to sound like they. We live in such a politically correct era that nobody wants to say the wrong thing. You don't seem to. You wear your personality on your sleeves. This is how you feel. It is what it is. Let's keep moving. And I get it. I get it. There's a lot of people that feel the way you do. I haven't disagreed yet. You're just saying things that others won't, and you're just very blunt with it. It's the truth. There's always a program for people that are like you said, severely in trouble. Like you got the problems for the kids that are drugs. You got the poverty. But what about that middle child? They either got to make it on their own or they got to slip a few levels down to get the assistance that they should have gotten when they were in the middle. When they just needed a little, all right, got it. I got the key I needed. There's not too many programs for middle class, but there's there's people that if you're broke, you can go get government assistance. What about the people that just making it? Can you just help me out? Give me one little gem that could change my life. There's not too many people helping those people. It's either sink or swim. So you're just saying that. You're saying the right things. And it's exactly how you feel. My
You know,
question to you is on failure. And I'm sorry, I know somebody was going to speak. How many times, first of all, I know it's probably not polite. I'm going to say that you're in your 30s or 40s, around
Yeah,
there.
just turned 39.
Okay, I was gonna say that because I feel like we're all around the same age here. So 39, the grays, 39. In your 39 years of life, right? How have you reached the point where you failed and almost didn't get back up? Was failure part of your plan to get where you are? Because I've seen what I've seen going through the wormhole, like I told you, and I would say to me, you've reached a point of success. Probably not to your not to your liking. You got so much more to go, but I don't see you in the corners either. You know what I'm saying? Like you've done something with your life. So what pushed you there and didn't leave you on the other side? Because you guys grew up in a hard knocks life. Miami ain't easy. People see Miami and they just think Miami Beach. I'm from up north. So when they say Miami to me, I'm thinking beach, party, yay, come back home, people beach. But nobody, when I moved down here and I started actually working in like Miami-Dade County, it's a whole different world. There's like cowboys and Indians out there. I don't know how some people make it. It's just as bad there as it is in the grimy streets of the concrete jungle in New York. So only difference is there's no snow. So that means there's a lot more people hanging out a lot longer. Because the winters are cool over there. There's no
Yeah.
winters there. It's all day long. So you had to reach some pitfalls where most would have failed. How did you get through that? Because a lot of people that are listening are going through that. They fall and they don't know how to get up.
Honestly, honestly, I never felt like I failed. I, I'm I always say this. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. To get on this path and to first of all, I'll say this. Right? Let me dial it back a little bit. You come from, you guys come from essentially an island, third world country, whatever you want to call it, right? Or the sense of it. To think that you're gonna pull off the impossible and make millions, you gotta be a delusional ass motherfucker. You really got to be out your rabbit ass mind to think that you're gonna pull that off. You got to be a little bit crazy, a little bit psycho. You know what I mean? You got to be wired a little bit differently. So when it came to failure, I didn't even know I failed that stuff. I mean, I just knew shit didn't go right. That's what I attribute. I'm like, okay, that didn't go right. I didn't never call it a failure because I never thought I was. I promise you, I seen my bank account fucking 7 figures. I seen my bank account where shit, the membership fee took it in the negative after the month was over. I done saw that. I never once thought that I didn't belong somewhere. I never thought I wasn't fucking worthy. One thing about it, man, I always walk with my head held high. Now I would say this: growing up, a few people thought I was arrogant growing up. I always thought I was a cool guy. Like I was the guy, I was the kid that you could come over and play my video game. You could come over and play my Sega Genesis, my Nintendo 64, my Dreamcast. I was always that kid. Matter of fact, you could be first player. Matter of fact, you could play the game on one player because I'm gonna listen to some music and match some girls on the phone while you go do that, right? But I could never understand. I could never understand like why I didn't get along with everybody though, because I was just so cool. I had to understand. I walk with a certain essence. I command the room when I walk in. You get what I mean? I'm wired a little bit differently. So when you say failure, I never thought of failure. I just said it didn't work out. And I'm okay with. I remember one of my billionaire buddies told me, Terrance, you don't need to be right all the time. You just need to be right one time. One time. That's it. And don't be afraid of starting over. Start it over, redo it, reconfigure, recalibrate, and be okay with cutting it. Like, don't be worried about what the spectators got to say. They the ones that paid this ticket to come see you. You're the star of the show. So when you hear stuff like that, I never felt like I failed at anything. I guess you could say I'm being delusional because it is a bit delusion there, but have I done things and they have not worked out? Hell yeah. Still to this day, I do things and it don't work out. But you would never know the way I walk, the way I talk. And those things that's not working out, when people see me with the billionaires and the people with 30 million, 40, $50 million homes, private jets, when they see me become friends with the people, I always tell you, what y'all think we talking about? Hedge funds and hundreds of millions of dollars? That's what y'all think we talking about? We actually talking about all the dark days and the sleepless nights and the sacrifices and all that other stuff, the things that we all can relate to.
Lessons, not failures. You win or you learn. Got it.
That's powerful. And there's another question here. By the your trusted insurance broker on Instagram. She's asking, how did you become successful? Who gave you an opportunity?
A few things. Okay, so I gotta give you a real answer. Number one, I do believe this. Everybody is self-made, but only the successful people will admit it. So you make your circumstances. So what I did was, the first thing first was I had to look in the mirror and see what the fuck was going on. Because I was one of the high performers at my job that still had a couple $1,000s in my bank account because I had to buy Jordans every couple of weeks. I had to have a whole fit. Still was a terrible spender. You get what I mean? But I got my credit right. And I promised when I got my credit right, I was going to do right this time. I got approved for $1 million loan in real estate investing. I used that money to flip property. And I just stayed committed. I stayed committed to the process. Can I tell y'all a story real quick? I'm gonna be brief with the story.
Yeah, sure.
When I was working for Gordon Food Service, I was a selector. So just so y'all know that I wasn't Wall Street guy. I wasn't none of that. I was a guy a guy stacking fucking boxes. That's what I did, playing Tetris all day. And I remember when I decided to get into real estate investing, I had a meeting with a guy. I needed to ask for $250,000. Scariest shit I ever had in my life. If you from the hood, y'all even know you can't even ask nobody to drop you to the stove. You know what I mean? You can't ask nobody for nothing. Are you crazy? So the guy's talking. He's like, "Hey, Terrance, you seem so passionate. What were you doing before you got into real estate?" I'm like, "Oh, I work. Whatever." I'm telling him, giving the whole spiel. I could tell the energy shifted. At the end of this lunch, which ended up becoming a dinner, that's how much we were talking. He was like, "Hey, Terrance, I like you. You're this. There's no doubt in my mind you'll be successful, but I can't give you $250,000. Not now." And I was like, "Why?" He was like, "Look, you say you're working. Look, listen, I get it. I'm a hard worker." He's like, "No, it's no doubt in my mind. But if I give you $250,000 of my money, You need to eat, shit, think, breathe my money. You're telling me that you gotta have to get to my money when you get off of work doesn't sit well with me. I need to know that you're all in or you're not. It's no halfway with me. So I remember feeling away. He kept it real with me. My head was I never get no headaches, but I just remember a headache. I'm having a migraine. I'm just feeling all type of way. I speak to the wife. She asked me how the meeting went. I tell her, and I was like, I'll never tell nobody I work for somebody ever again. And she like, that's what you got out of that? And I was like, yeah, because everything was going good until I told him. I don't know why I told him that. She was like, no, you need to quit your job. That job is blocking your blessings. That was the wake up call I needed. I ended up getting $5 million from that guy. Like a year and a half later, he gave me $5 million to invest.
So check that out. If your support system was not there to encourage you and to believe in you to do that, where would you think you'd be at now? You think you'd be as far along where you at now if that support system was not there to encourage you to do that?
Yeah, I do because I was just always wired that way. But it's extra, when you. I like to think everybody on here got a beautiful wife. Not just you got a wife, but she's beautiful, and beauty comes with something. Because if you don't do it, man, y'all see these social media guys, man, they coming from all over. Back in the day, you just had to worry about your girl going to the store. You know what I mean? But yeah, but honestly, just her circumstances, her situation. She lost both of her parents when she was young. She been on her own. She was a teenage mom. I won't go into her whole story because that would be a story for her to tell. But as a young man, I was 21 years old, and I thought I can't wait to change her life. And I'm working at Home Depot in the flooring section at the time. That's all I kept thinking about. How can I help change her life? And here I am living with my grandmother, right? Thinking how I'm gonna change her life. But that's just the way I'm wired, man. But I always knew the concept. If I can help change other people's lives, it will change my life, changing other people's lives. I don't know why I thought that way. And not only to find out later on, that's really how you're supposed to think. But yeah.
You know how I found you, Terrance? From that viral video of you buying your wife that car, that Lexus.
Oh man. Yeah.
That's how I've met you. That's how I found you on social media. You created a video, and the picture still is up of you getting in that, and the way she was crying, the way she was happy, and the way you felt confident, like, you know what, I did this for her. I worked so hard. I did it for her.
Yeah.
That was like believe, like it felt like she did so much for you, and you felt like it's the least
absolutely.
I could do for you.
Yeah,
it's the least I could do for you.
It was the year prior. What people don't know the backstory to that was, she was getting her own cars because at the time I couldn't really get her a car. So the best thing I could do for her is try to get my credit right to get her the best rates at least. At least that's what you can do if you can't give her, contribute to it. So I remember going into like a dealership, a Lexus dealership, and that's when I found out my credit was fucked up. And I just felt so embarrassed and humiliated. Like, I'm a man. Like, she looked at me and, and like, damn, you ain't got your shit together, nigga. You know what I mean? And I just remember feeling away, and she test drove it, everything. And when we found out that we won't be able to get it, I promised her on the ride home, I say, give me a year. I promise you we're going to come and get this car back on our terms. Just give me 1 year. I apologized to her like profusely on the way home. Like I got caught cheating or something shit. I just felt so humiliated, you know what I mean? That I couldn't even come through with her for that. And so when I got in a position, that was the first thing I did. When I first got some money in real estate and I got my credit right, my first thing was to make sure I put her in what she would call call her dream car at the time. That was extremely important to me.
And you created another video, you had upgraded it too. I remember that one too. That went viral too.
Yeah, by that time I was kind of over, creating the videos. I thought people got the picture at that point. No, but seriously, like, I don't know. You know what, Mark? I'm as I'm talking to you guys, I can go back and forth about the way I thought. I promise you, I've always been wired differently. The problem is I couldn't never just say that because it would turn people off. It was just like, who are you to think like that? Like, who the fuck is you? You know, but I always thought like that. I remember when I first got the Camaro, which I got fucked over on the deal, but you don't know that in real time. You know, you don't know that you really got fucked over from the car. And I remember when I brought the car, you get a new car, what we gonna do? I gotta slide through the hood. I gotta go show y'all, you know what's up. I pull up, got a stunt. And I remember them telling me, and I put down $10,000 for that Camaro. Transformers was the hottest movie at the time. It was a Camaro SS2. That was probably the hardest I ever worked for a car a day in my life. And I remember hearing through the grapevine. Of course, they wouldn't say it to me, but when I rode off, oh, they gonna come get that car in a few months. That's what I heard through the grapevine, right? They were talking shit. Oh boy, he spent too much. They got his ass. And then the person that told me, I was like, they don't know me. They don't know how I'm wired, dog. I'm not the motherfucker you finna come pick up. You ain't come picking up no motherfucking car from me. You got me fucked up. I always spent money first, and I found a way how to afford that shit later. Now, it was, some people called it irresponsible. I just called it, man, look here. I ain't saving no money to go get that shit. I'm gonna get it, and I'll figure the rest out. I'm still that way to this day. I cross that bridge when I get there. When people be talking about, oh, well, what about this? You making up scenarios we ain't even know yet. I don't know. Shit, we cross that bridge when we get there. All I know, this shit gonna work.
You believe in yourself,
man. I don't know how you believe. I don't look. Listen, I'm sure we all faith driven. And look, I believe in God, right? But there ain't nothing else I believe in more than me. I'm that deeply rooted within myself. I bet on me every fucking time. I don't give a fuck if I crap out. I'm gonna come back out and I'm gonna bet on me every single time.
That's deep.
Like my buddy of mine, the one that with Billionaire Family, right? He was like, they were bragging about how he's the first one in the office and all that. I was like, okay. And he was like, I'm like, what time you usually get to the office? I'm gonna never tell you that or whatever. I said, okay. I don't even work there. And I beat him to the office. And he was like, what the hell? What the hell you doing here? And I was like, you can't beat somebody that never fucking left. I slept here last night.
That's insane.
Just to prove a point.
Beat somebody who never left. Ooh, I gotta write that down. Hey T, that's going in my book, bro. I'm gonna give you credit, all right?
Wow.
Let's just put a disclaimer, man. Do not use a strategy for dating a girl. All right, you end up in prison.
Yeah, definitely.
Man.
So let me ask you this, man, because you're one of the when it comes to marketing, sales, leadership, you know, I even learned from you. Talk about marketing and sales. Talk about social media. If someone is young right now, right, and they're trying to lead a 9 to 5, what kind of strategy would you give them? Like, what kind of give me like a 5-step move they should do when they're trying to be their 9 to 5 and try to work for themselves?
First, I would say it's personal development. Get around people that you want to be like. I don't give a fuck what race they is, where they from. You can learn from everybody. Right. The second thing is fake it till you make it. That works. It only don't work when you don't make it. Always make it look bigger than what it is. My friend Mark, my friend, I use this to this day. So you always take my saying. I still use that saying to this day. However you see yourself in 5 years is the person you have to be today. When you said that to me the first time, that changed everything. I said, ooh. You know what I mean? Get around people and make money really, really fast. Like, don't be, you should never focus on building generational wealth in your 20s. You should focus on getting rich, making as much money as possible. All that other stuff, the family estate plan and all that, there will be time for that. Make as much money, get into sales where you can make a lot of money. You get what I mean? Be authentic, be 100. You ain't even got to be extraordinary at anything these days. All you got to do is do what you say you're going to do because so many people full of shit. The market is open for you. There's too many full of shit people, especially here in Miami. Just show up and do what you say you're gonna do. If you do what you say you're gonna do and just be average, you will make it. So imagine if you
Wow.
extraordinary with what you do.
Mm,
You will be the go-to person, and your work begin to work for you.
that's right. Powerful.
Wow.
Well, not fake it till you make it. Fake it while you make it.
Figure why you make it. Yeah.
Fake it while you make it. Always make it look bigger than what it is. People like to push back on that, but it's all game. It's all game. I never got a sandwich from McDonald's that looked like the sandwich on TV.
Oh,
You hungry, you gonna eat it anyway.
oh, that ice cream from Dairy Queen, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't eat McDonald's no more, but I just give you the reference,
Yeah. That was good, man. I
Yeah.
like what you said about. Go ahead.
No,
That was
that
good.
was good. That was good.
Yeah.
I was gonna add another disclaimer there. The same thing could be applied to dating, right? I always tell guys that are not married yet. I'm married young at 18, right? And I always tell guys before you get serious with a girl, right? Invite her out for swimming. Everything comes out. If you're like that, you're good now. All right. Yeah.
No
But
push
go on, Mark.
wrong.
Go on.
So what I got out of what you said earlier, to go back to what you said earlier about helping certain people, you said to find role models. That's the same as somebody, a trainer trying to work with somebody that's already in the gym versus trying to knock on somebody's door and trying to drag them out, or call in somebody to try to drag them out. Hey,
Pretty much.
people at the gym that they need help already. They're trying their best, but guess what? They don't have the right coach and the right mentor to teach them the mechanics of trying to get in better health, get in better shape. So, man, that was good. That was a good one. That was one of my biggest takeaways from this amazing podcast, bro.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate y'all inviting me, man, and having me on and allowing me
You
to
gotta,
answer some of these questions.
you gotta definitely. I know because of the time, but you definitely gotta come back. We gotta get you raw and uncut now. Now I'm prepared for you.
Hey, let me tell
Now
you.
I found push buttons, but I found them with
You
57
said you was
minutes
on my
in.
page for 2 hours, man. You should
Yeah,
know
but
how I get
I
down.
don't know. I know how you get down, but now I know how difficult. I could twist you a little because I see the difference. I see the smiles and I see the bombs come out. Your whole temperament comes out now. Mark is touching the buttons, getting the
Yeah,
metaphors out of you. You're a deep brother, man. So, what do
I
you do
appreciate
to
it.
help others out there get to your level? Do you do anything like that? Like, do you
Yeah,
have a
mentoring. Yeah,
business?
yeah.
Yeah.
Mentoring. Yeah, I do mentorship. I have helped people quit their jobs. People have quit their jobs. People have bought property. When I'm mentoring heavy on real estate, property. Now, no, I'm also do coaching and just overall sales and how to build relationships and network. Like none of this shit not gonna work if you don't know how to network and talk to the people and get around the right people. I don't care what you got going on. You get what I mean? And understand you can't take everybody with you. I don't know why people feel compelled to take their friends with them. I learned one thing I learned on this journey, this lonely ass entrepreneurship journey, is you better learn to enjoy your own company because it get dark and it get lonely.
Bro, I don't know if you got time to share. I think your granddaddy or somebody about taking somebody with you. You had shared a story on Instagram or Facebook about everybody can go with you.
Yeah. I was the first one with a car in high school. It was a little raggedy car, but nevertheless, it was a car. And it was always who gonna get the car first, right? That was cool. You was gonna be the designated driver, know where everybody need to go. And I remember when I pulled up, they were like, "Oh, you got a car?" And Terry, short for Terrance, like Terry, don't have all the motherfuckers in your car. You know how old people talk, and I'm like, "Oh man, granddaddy, we just," he was like the neighborhood granddaddy. So we like, "Granddaddy, man, we just chilling. Hey, don't have them all in your car, in your back seat, and all that other stuff there." And then, the granddaddy was one of them guys that if he walked down the street and if it's like a group of us, everybody just scatter. Everybody just like walk away. Like just, here he come. And I would be the only one that stay. Like I'd just be like, man, because it was just too obvious. I'm like, damn, he know that y'all walking away, and then I would be the one he would talk to. And he just pretty much told me, is like, you think these motherfuckers here your friends, including my grandson, you think they're your friends? You ain't gonna be talking to these motherfuckers 20 years from 10, 20 years from now, but you could never see that far ahead. And he was just pretty much telling me, you two at the most, three is a crowd. y'all, all y'all together, y'all look like y'all up to no good. And I'm like, we just friends. And he, no, y'all look like y'all up to no good. And it don't look good. Don't have them in your back seat. Next time, get a 2-seat car. Monte Carlo, Camaro, and all the other sports cars that I had, 2-door cars. It stuck with me. Therefore, I had a reason to not lift up my back seat. Hey, man, only one person, man. And it was true. It was true. I remember it was a time when I thought the police got behind me, but it was actually we was teenagers. We was parked in front of the police officer house. We didn't know that though. So Zuri, stop. So we was in front of their house. A car gets behind me. I didn't know it was his house to pull up in. I pull up. I look. Zuri, stop. I pull up, and he gets out the car. I get back in the car because I'm thinking that we gonna get pulled over.
Mm-hmm.
And my friend, I get back in my car, and my friend picking up all his drugs off my floor. So I'm like, hey man, what the hell? His thing was, I thought there was the police behind me, man. I got scared. I'm like, why would you throw that shit in my car though? He like, bro, you ain't never been to jail. They ain't gonna do nothing to you. But he was one of the ones that was constantly like a troubled juvenile. You get what I mean? And needless to say, that was kind of that was the end of our friendship. But like people got mad at me. The other homies, like they got mad at me behind that. Like,
yeah,
they turned on me behind that shit because they felt like what you would do, snitch on your dog. And I'm like, never mind the fact he threw it in my car. Nobody said nothing about him throwing the shit in my car. They more worried about but you act like you were gonna snitch on them.
You know how many people how many great, amazing young men is in jail because of that situation right there?
Yeah.
It's doing 10, 20 years for somebody that.
I mean, the hood is the hood is manipulative. The hood is a manipulating place. You get what I mean? If you're not strong-minded.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Awesome, guys. So, hey, I think we definitely agree with Leo. We should do a part 2. I think next time will be valuable for everyone watching and to develop a little bit more on Terrance development with the real estate. All right. We know real estate it's one of the best ways to build longevity wealth, right? Because of appreciation and all that good jazz, right? And how to not pay taxes legally, right? That's one of the best.
No.
No. We're not going to talk about that. No.
Wait. You just got him. Wait, you got him riled up. His eyes went up. His glasses got lighter. What was that? He said, "No."
What do you mean by that?
Because it's what I learned is I love real estate.
Mm-hmm.
I love it, but that's a manipulative industry. Man, ain't nobody I'm around that got rich off no goddamn real estate. That's a lie. That 70% of millionaires investing, that's a lie. I don't know where the hell they got that statistic from. The new millionaires, they don't invest in real estate. The people I know made money either building the companies, the infrastructure, end up selling the company to a bigger company or got bought out or something like that, and they use a ton of money to invest in multifamily properties or what Grant Cardone did or something like that. You get what I mean? All that single family. I mean, it's a very hard way to single family, duplex, triplex, quadplex, small apartment building and scale up. You could do it that way too. Don't get me wrong or whatever, but it takes an extremely long time in order to do that. And you have to have the resources, the money, the finances, the wherewithal to even put that team together. I won't even put that on like a minority person to try to pull off. You know what I mean? There's quicker ways to make money. You get what I mean? Through without having to put up as much capital and without hiring contractors, because real estate is a place that you have to rely on so many people for the shit to go right. You need the realtor, you need the contractor, you need the title company. It's so many moving pieces to that. And trust me when I tell you, not everybody work on your timeline. There's people that drag their fucking feet. They think whatever ain't gonna get done today just ain't gonna get done. I'm not that kind of dude. We gonna get as much as we can get done today. You know what I mean? And that, but again, like real estate, I love it. I built wealth off of it. I stand on it. But I will be doing your audience or people a disservice if I didn't find easier ways to make money and build capital and build wealth. And then you could go back to real estate and go do that.
So that's the old playbook. That's the old way.
Very old.
Yeah.
Very old way. But you don't know that. It was real estate in the stock market in 2014.
Right. But that's just like parents telling us to go to college and get a good job. That's the same way. That's the old play. That's back in the days.
It's an old way to do it.
You don't have to make. You don't have to have a degree to make
imagine
money.
that though. Imagine that. Imagine your 7-figure ass going into a room where it's 8 and 9-figure people. Everybody saying what they do, and you the only one talking about real estate investing. You flip houses. You might as well say you work at Burger King.
Dinosaur. Yeah.
Well, we scratched that second episode about real estate real fast, so we're not going to do that. And that
we scratched the tax part of it. We still need to talk about real estate.
Yeah, that subject line was more of a selfish part two for me, because right now I agree with you. Right, you got to have a cash flow, because cash flow is king, not cash, right? So you want to have a massive cash flow coming in, pile it all up, and then go invest in A-grade properties, right? What most people are doing now is they're investing on what you said, the fix and flip and all that good stuff. That's not where the money is. The money is when go buy you a place that has 130 apartments or 60 apartments, right? 60 doors. That's at least 80% capacity, and then take your money and invest it, right? But most people, like you said, I agree with you on that. Most people probably watching this right now don't have 1.3, 1.5 for a down payment for a decent property. So that makes sense. So we'll scratch that one off. That'll be more of
building a personal. The number one way to build wealth these days is building your personal brand and leveraging it.
There you go. Perfect. So
I'm being honest with you. That's the best thing. I used to fight against it, but there's people out here who look like they live in life, look like it got way more followers than you, that make way more money than you because it looked like they got it popping and they're leveraging their personal brand, whether it's branding deals, people paying them for posts. Shit has changed drastically over the last 5 to 10 years.
I definitely agree. So we'll definitely we'll leave it up to In the Cloud. If it's something that you would like to come back and discuss as a part 2, I think it would be beneficial. This one was more of an intro, more of an appetizer to the folks watching this podcast. And if you're open to it, we'll talk about that and show people a faster way to get to where everybody wants to get to, which is get their time back and have a bunch of money. Let's call it for what it is, right?
Right.
Because we talked about it on the last episode. For those that are watching now, go back at the last episode that we did last week, and you'll see why you want to be making X amount of money minimum per month, right? So, any last words, Terrance, for us and for the podcast?
Just thank y'all. Thank y'all for having me. Thank you guys for being letting me be me, Mark. As always, thank you for the platform and meeting these great men. And that's it.
Absolutely.
The next time when I go meet Mark, I gotta go meet you, man. Meet you in person.
I appreciate it, man. Same. It will be an honor and pleasure, man.
Absolutely. So now we have a day when we go down there, because we're going to Miami to do some videos in a couple of weeks, and we leave that one up there. So how can people follow you, Terrance? Where can they find you?
Right here at Work Strive Grind, all platforms.
Excellent. So hey, we definitely appreciate you. Definitely pleasure meeting you. Hopefully we'll meet you when we go down to the Miami area next time we're down there, and we'll do it up, man. But thank you for being here, and up to next week. Everyone watching, be blessed.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. This has been another episode of ETA. It's been an honor and a privilege to be with you. See you next Wednesday on our new episode. We're out of here.
Let's go.